The sun beat down on Oak Ridge Apartments on a hot summer day. Marcus Johnson wiped sweat from his forehead as he walked around the property. He smiled, looking at the neat garden beds and freshly painted buildings. After years of hard work, he finally owned this whole place, all 50 apartments, and the beautiful grounds around them. Marcus grew up poor. His mom worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. When he was young, they moved a lot because they couldn't always pay rent. Now at 38, Marcus owned 3 apartment buildings. Oak Ridge was his biggest and newest purchase. "Good morning, Mr. Johnson," called Mrs. Rivera from her first-floor apartment. She watered the flowers outside her door. "Morning, Mrs. Rivera. Those flowers look beautiful," Marcus called back with a wave. He continued his walk around the property. Marcus liked to check everything himself at least once a week. Today he needed to look at some roof repairs and check the pool equipment. After finishing his inspection of the roof, Marcus felt hot and tired. The thermometer on the wall read 95 degrees. He decided to take a quick swim in the pool before meeting with his property manager. Marcus went to his car and grabbed the swim shorts he always kept there. He changed in the pool house bathroom and stepped out to the sparkling blue water. Only a few people were at the pool. An older man reading a book under an umbrella and a young couple playing with their toddler in the shallow end. The cool water felt amazing as Marcus slid into the pool. He closed his eyes and floated on his back, feeling the stress melt away from his body. He had meetings all afternoon, but for now, he could enjoy a few peaceful moments. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" The sharp voice broke through Marcus's relaxation. He stood up in the water and turned to see a white woman glaring at him from the edge of the pool. She wore expensive sunglasses and a designer swimsuit. Her blonde hair was pulled back tight, and her arms were crossed over her chest. "I'm swimming," Marcus said calmly, though he already felt a familiar tightness in his stomach. He'd been in situations like this before. "This pool is for residents only," the woman said loudly. People around the pool area started to look their way. "I've never seen you here before. I know everyone who lives in this complex." Marcus took a deep breath. "I have every right to be here, Mom." "No, you don't." Her voice got even louder. "I'm Patricia Baker, head of the Residence Committee. I've lived here for 8 months, and I've never seen you. You need to leave right now, or I'm calling security." The older man with the book looked up, frowning. The couple pulled their child closer, watching the scene unfold. "Ma'am, there's really no need." Marcus started. "Don't ma'am me." Patricia pulled out her phone. "I'm calling security right now. People can't just walk in off the street and use our pool." Marcus sighed. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened to him. Usually, he would just show his ID and clear things up. But something about Patricia's attitude made him pause. "What exactly makes you think I don't belong here?" he asked quietly. Patricia's face turned red. "Well, I just know all the residents, and you're not one of them." Just then, a woman in professional clothes hurried toward the pool area. It was Lisa Chen, the property manager Marcus had hired 6 months ago. The look on her face showed she had heard everything. "Ms. Baker," Lisa called out as she approached. "Is there a problem here?" Lisa Chen walked quickly to the pool area. She had been working in her office when she heard the loud voice. As the property manager of Oak Ridge Apartments, it was her job to handle problems. "Ms. Baker, what seems to be the issue?" Lisa asked. She looked between Patricia and Marcus with concern in her eyes. Patricia pointed at Marcus, who was still standing in the pool. "This man doesn't live here. He's using our pool without permission. I was just about to call security." Lisa's eyes widened. She looked at Marcus, then back at Patricia. "Ms. Baker," she said slowly, "do you know who this is?" "Of course not. That's the whole point. He's a stranger using our facilities." Patricia waved her phone in the air. A small smile appeared on Lisa's face. "Ms. Baker, this is Marcus Johnson." Patricia frowned. "Am I supposed to know that name?" Lisa nodded. Yes, you should. This is Mr. Johnson, the owner of Oak Ridge Apartments. He owns this entire complex, including the pool you're standing next to. The silence that followed was so complete that they could hear water dripping from Marcus's shoulders. Patricia's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Her phone nearly slipped from her hand. The owner, she finally managed to say. Marcus nodded and moved toward the pool steps. Yes, I own the building where you live, Ms. Baker. The other people at the pool were now watching with great interest. The older man had put down his book completely. The couple with the child were trying not to stare, but failing. Patricia's face turned from angry red to embarrassed red. But I've never seen you around before. I come by at least once a week, Marcus said as he climbed out of the pool. I was checking the roof repairs this morning. It's very hot today, so I decided to cool off. Lisa handed Marcus a towel from the nearby rack. Mr. Johnson believes in hands-on management. He visits all his properties regularly. Patricia looked around nervously. Everyone was watching her now. She could feel their eyes. I had no idea. You should have said something. Marcus dried his face with the towel. Would it have mattered who I was? He asked quietly. Everyone who has permission to be here deserves respect, don't you think? Patricia didn't seem to know what to say. She looked down at her expensive sandals. I'm sorry for the confusion, she finally mumbled. The older man with the book suddenly spoke up. Confusion. Is that what we're calling it now? He shook his head. I've lived here for 5 years. Mr. Johnson visits all the time. He helped me carry my groceries last month when my back was hurting. The young mother from the couple added, he fixed our kitchen sink when it was leaking, even though maintenance was busy that day. Patricia's face grew even redder. She hadn't expected others to speak up. Marcus wrapped the towel around his waist. It's okay, everyone. I'm sure Ms. Baker was just concerned about security. His voice was kind, even though Patricia had been rude to him. Lisa checked her watch. Mr. Johnson, we have that meeting with the contractors in 20 minutes. Marcus nodded. I'll get changed and meet you at the office. He turned to Patricia. Ms. Baker, I'd like to invite you to our community meeting next Tuesday. We're discussing plans for improving the property. Your input would be valuable since you're on the residence committee. Patricia seemed shocked by his offer. You still want me to come? After this, everyone makes mistakes, Marcus said. What matters is what we learn from them. As Marcus walked away toward the pool house to change, Patricia stood frozen in place. The other residents slowly returned to their activities, but they whispered to each other. Patricia felt like sinking into the ground. Lisa gave Patricia a card. Tuesday at 7 p.m. in the community room. We hope to see you there. Patricia Baker didn't sleep well that night. She kept thinking about what happened at the pool. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Marcus Johnson's face and the disappointed looks from the other residents. The next morning, Patricia made coffee and sat by her window. From her apartment on the second floor, she could see people walking around the complex. She noticed how they greeted each other with smiles and waves. Had she been too focused on herself to see this friendly community before? Her phone rang. It was her sister, Kate. You won't believe what happened yesterday, Patricia said, and told Kate the whole pool story. Oh, Patricia, Kate sighed when she finished. You really messed up. I know, Patricia admitted. I feel terrible. So what are you going to do about it? Kate asked. Patricia thought for a moment. Mr. Johnson invited me to a community meeting next Tuesday. Are you going? I don't know. Everyone will be staring at me. They probably all heard what happened by now. Kate was quiet for a moment. Remember when we were kids and Dad always said, when you make a mistake, own it. Patricia nodded, even though her sister couldn't see her. I remember. After talking with Kate, Patricia decided to take a walk around the apartment complex. She had lived there for 8 months but realized she hardly knew anyone. As she walked, she noticed things she had never paid attention to before. The beautiful flower beds, the clean playground, the fresh paint on all the buildings. When she reached the community garden at the back of the property, Patricia saw an elderly woman struggling with a heavy watering can. "Let me help you with that," Patricia said, rushing forward to take the can. The woman looked up in surprise. "Thank you, dear. These old hands don't work like they used to." "I'm Patricia Baker from apartment 27B, she said as she watered the plants. "I'm Eleanor Washington. I've lived here for 12 years, apartment 14A. The old woman smiled. "I've never seen you in the garden before." Patricia felt ashamed. "I guess I haven't been very involved in the community." Eleanor nodded. "Well, it's never too late to start." They talked while Patricia helped water all of Eleanor's vegetables. Eleanor told stories about how the apartment complex used to look before Marcus Johnson bought it. "This place was falling apart," Eleanor said. "The previous owner didn't care at all. Then Marcus bought it 3 years ago and changed everything. He's a good man." Patricia listened, feeling worse about how she had treated Marcus. "I did something really awful yesterday," she admitted, and told Eleanor about the pool incident. Eleanor didn't look shocked or angry. She just nodded. "We all make mistakes, dear. The question is, what do we do after?" "Mr. Johnson invited me to the community meeting on Tuesday," Patricia said. "Then you should go," Eleanor said firmly. "Show him that you can learn and grow." Over the next few days, Patricia made an effort to meet more of her neighbors. She helped Mrs. Rivera carry groceries. She picked up trash she saw on the ground. She smiled and said hello to everyone she passed. On Monday, Patricia was checking her mail when she saw Marcus talking to the maintenance man near the front office. Her first instinct was to turn and walk the other way. But then she remembered what her sister and Eleanor had said. Taking a deep breath, Patricia walked toward Marcus. "Mr. Johnson," she said, her voice shaking a little. "Could I speak with you for a moment?" Marcus turned, surprised to see her. "Of course, Ms. Baker." The maintenance man excused himself, leaving them alone. Patricia's heart was beating fast. "I wanted to apologize properly for what happened at the pool. My behavior was inexcusable." Marcus studied her face, his expression serious but not angry. Marcus looked at Patricia for a long moment. His face was calm, but his eyes were serious. "Thank you for the apology, Ms. Baker," he finally said. "I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me directly." Patricia nodded nervously. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened. I was wrong in so many ways. May I ask you something?" Marcus said. When Patricia nodded, he continued. "What made you think I didn't belong at the pool that day?" Patricia's face flushed. This was the hard question she had been asking herself for days. I made assumptions. I thought I knew everyone who lived here, and when I saw someone I didn't recognize." She paused. "But that wasn't the whole truth, was it?" "What do you mean?" Marcus asked. "If you had been a different color, I might not have questioned you at all." Patricia admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been thinking about that a lot. It's not a comfortable thing to realize about yourself." Marcus nodded slowly. "Self-awareness is the first step to change. Not everyone gets that far." A maintenance truck pulled into the parking lot nearby, and Marcus glanced at his watch. "I have another meeting now, but I'm glad we had this conversation. Will you be at the community meeting tomorrow night?" "Yes," Patricia said. "I'll be there." As Marcus walked away, Patricia felt like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. The conversation had been difficult but necessary. The next evening, Patricia arrived at the community room 15 minutes early for the meeting. She was surprised to find it already half full. People sat in small groups, talking and laughing. A table along one wall had cookies, fruit, and drinks. Patricia hesitated in the doorway, unsure where to sit. She recognized Eleanor Washington, who waved her over. "Come sit with me, dear," Eleanor said, patting the empty chair next to her. "I saved you a spot." Grateful, Patricia joined Eleanor. As more people arrived, Patricia was surprised to see how many residents she had met over the past few days. Mrs. Rivera smiled at her. The young couple from the pool brought their toddler, who ran around the chairs playing with another child. At exactly 7 o'clock, Marcus and Lisa walked in. The room grew quiet as Marcus moved to the front. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming," he began. "As you know, I believe that an apartment complex isn't just buildings and rooms. It's a community." People nodded and murmured in agreement. "Tonight, I want to talk about some improvements we're planning for Oak Ridge. But first, I'd like to introduce someone." To Patricia's shock, Marcus looked directly at her. "Ms. Baker recently joined our residence committee, and she's been getting to know many of you this week. Patricia, would you like to stand up?" Patricia felt her heart race as she slowly stood. All eyes turned to her. "Patricia has some ideas about how we can make our community stronger," Marcus continued. "She's volunteered to help organize our first annual Oak Ridge Community Day next month." Patricia's mouth fell open. She hadn't volunteered for anything. But as she looked at Marcus's encouraging smile, she suddenly felt determined not to let him down. "Yes," she said clearly. "I think a community day would be wonderful. We could have food, games, maybe even a small talent show." People around the room nodded and smiled. Someone in the back called out, "I make the best barbecue in the county." Another voice added, "My band could play music." As Patricia sat down, her mind was spinning. How had this happened? But she felt something new, a sense of purpose and belonging. After the meeting, Marcus approached her. "I hope you don't mind that I volunteered you," he said with a slight smile. "I had a feeling you were looking for a way to connect with the community." Patricia shook her head in amazement. "After how I treated you, you're giving me a chance to do something good here." "Why?" "Everyone deserves a second chance," Marcus said simply. "The question is, what will you do with yours?" The next 3 weeks were the busiest of Patricia's life. Planning the Oak Ridge Community Day took all her free time. She created sign-up sheets for food, games, and performances. She made flyers and put them under everyone's doors. She even started a group chat for residents to share ideas. Patricia was surprised by how much she enjoyed the work. Each day, she met more neighbors and learned their stories. She discovered that Mr. Lee in apartment 12A was a retired chef who offered to cook for the event. Mrs. Diaz from the 3rd floor was a music teacher who volunteered to organize the talent show. One evening, Patricia was sitting in the community room surrounded by papers and lists. She had been there for hours, and her head was starting to hurt. "You look like you could use this," said a voice. Patricia looked up to see Marcus standing there with 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to her and sat down across the table. "Thank you," she said gratefully, taking a sip. "How did you know I'd be here?" Marcus smiled. "Lisa told me you've been here every night this week. How's the planning going?" "Good, I think," Patricia said. "So many people want to help. I never realized how talented our residents are." "That's what happens when you take the time to get to know people," Marcus said. "Everyone has something special to offer." Patricia nodded, thinking about how much she had changed in just a few weeks. "Can I ask you something personal?" she asked suddenly. "Sure," Marcus replied. "How did you do it? Buy this whole apartment complex, I mean. It must have cost millions." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "It did, but I didn't start here. My first property was a small duplex that needed a lot of work. I lived in one half and rented out the other. I saved every penny and fixed it up myself on weekends." "Really?" Patricia was surprised. "Yes, it took me 15 years to build up enough to buy Oak Ridge. I worked 2 jobs for most of that time." Marcus looked around the community room. "But it was worth every minute." Patricia thought about her own life. She had always had things handed to her: her apartment, her job at her father's company, even her place on the residence committee. She had never had to work hard for anything. "I admire that," she said honestly. "I haven't done much with my life that I can be proud of." "You're doing something now," Marcus pointed out. "This community day is bringing people together." The day before the big event, disaster struck. The weather forecast showed heavy rain for the entire day. Patricia was devastated. All her plans for outdoor activities would be ruined. She called an emergency meeting with her planning committee. "We can't cancel," Mrs. Dias said firmly. "Everyone is looking forward to this." "But we can't fit everyone inside the community room," Patricia argued. "There are over 100 people coming." Mr. Lee scratched his chin thoughtfully. "What about the parking garage?" "It's covered, and we could clear out the cars from the first level." Patricia's eyes widened. "That's actually a brilliant idea." She called Marcus immediately to ask permission. To her relief, he agreed. "I'll have the maintenance team help move everything," he promised, "and I'll send emails to everyone to park on the street tomorrow." That night, Patricia couldn't sleep. She worried about every detail. What if people didn't like the food? What if the activities were boring? What if no one had fun? At 5:00 a.m., she got up and looked out her window. It was already raining hard. With a sigh, she got dressed and headed to the parking garage. To her surprise, Marcus was already there, helping the maintenance team set up tables. "You're here early," she said. "So are you," he replied with a smile. "I figured you might need some help." Together, they worked to transform the concrete garage into a welcoming space. They hung colorful streamers from the ceiling pipes. They set up long tables for food and activities. They even created a small stage area for the talent show. By 9:00 a.m., other volunteers started arriving to help. By 11:00 a.m., everything was ready. Patricia stood back and looked at their work. "I can't believe we did it," she said. "You did it," Marcus corrected her. "This was your vision." As the first residents began to arrive, Patricia felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. This was her chance to show the community who she really was, not the Karen from the pool, but someone who cared about bringing people together. The Oak Ridge Community Day was a huge success, even with the rain. The parking garage turned out to be perfect. The sound of raindrops on the roof above added a cozy feeling to the gathering. Nearly every resident came. Children ran between tables playing games. Adults talked and laughed while eating Mr. Lee's famous barbecue. Elderly residents sat in comfortable chairs, watching everything with happy smiles. Patricia moved through the crowd, making sure everyone had what they needed. She felt a warm feeling inside that she had never experienced before. This was what it meant to be part of a community. "Patricia, come quick," called Mrs. Dias. "The talent show is about to start, and our first performer is nervous." Patricia hurried to the makeshift stage area where a young girl of about 8 stood clutching a violin. The child's hands were shaking. "This is Maya," Mrs. Dias explained. "She's going to play for everyone, but she's scared." Patricia knelt down to the girl's level. "Hi, Maya. I'm Patricia." "I can't do it," Maya whispered. "Everyone will laugh at me." Patricia thought for a moment. "You know, I was scared too, about planning this whole day." "Really?" Maya looked doubtful. "But you're a grown-up." "Grown-ups get scared too," Patricia said with a smile. "But I learned something. When you do things for others, being scared doesn't matter so much." "But what if I make a mistake?" Maya asked. "Then you keep going," Patricia said. "That's what I did after I made a really big mistake a few weeks ago." Maya seemed to think about this. Finally, she nodded. "Okay, I'll try." Patricia stood up and walked to the center of the stage area. She tapped a spoon against a glass to get everyone's attention. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "welcome to the first Oak Ridge Talent Show. Please give a warm welcome to our first performer, Maya Lopes." The crowd clapped loudly as Maya stepped forward. She took a deep breath and began to play. Her violin music filled the garage, and everyone grew quiet to listen. When she finished, the applause was thunderous. Maya beamed with pride as she took a small bow. As she left the stage, she gave Patricia a quick hug. "Thank you," she whispered. One by one, residents showed their talents. Mr. Wilson, the older man from the pool, recited a poem he had written. A group of teenagers performed a dance routine. Even Eleanor Washington got up and sang a beautiful old song that brought tears to many eyes. As the talent show ended, Patricia noticed Marcus standing at the back of the crowd. He caught her eye and gave her a thumbs up. She smiled back, feeling proud of what they had accomplished together. Later, as the event was winding down, Patricia was helping to clean up when she overheard two women talking nearby. "Can you believe this is the same woman from the pool incident?" One whispered. "I know," the other replied. "People can really change, I guess." Patricia pretended not to hear, but the words warmed her heart. She had changed. The old Patricia would never have cared about bringing joy to others or helping a nervous child find courage. As the last residents were leaving, Marcus approached her with a small gift bag. "What's this?" Patricia asked, surprised. "Just a small thank you for all your hard work," Marcus said. Inside the bag was a framed photo of the Oak Ridge apartment buildings with the words, "Home is where community happens," printed at the bottom. "I don't know what to say," Patricia said, genuinely touched. "You don't need to say anything," Marcus replied. "Your actions have said everything." They stood together, looking around at the nearly empty garage. Volunteers were folding tables and stacking chairs. Children were helping pick up trash. Everyone was working together. "So what's next?" Marcus asked. "For you, I mean." Patricia thought for a moment. The past few weeks had changed her in ways she never expected. She had discovered a side of herself she didn't know existed. "I'm not sure," she admitted, "but I know I want to keep doing this, bringing people together, making a difference." Marcus nodded. "Well, I might have an idea about that, if you're interested." Patricia looked at him curiously. "What kind of idea?" "Let's talk in my office tomorrow," Marcus suggested. "Say, around 10 a.m. Patricia nodded, curious about what Marcus was planning. "I'll be there." The next morning, Patricia dressed carefully in her best work clothes. She wanted to look professional for her meeting with Marcus. As she walked to the management office, residents greeted her warmly. Several people thanked her again for the community day. Marcus was waiting for her when she arrived. His office was simple but nice, with pictures of his properties on the walls. "Good morning, Patricia," he said, offering her a seat. "Coffee?" "Yes, please," she replied, sitting down. Marcus poured 2 cups and sat behind his desk. "So, I've been thinking. The community day showed me something important about you." "What's that?" Patricia asked. "You have a talent for bringing people together," Marcus said. "You're organized, you care about details, and most importantly, you've learned to listen to people." Patricia felt her face grow warm at the compliment. "Thank you. That means a lot coming from you." Marcus leaned forward. "I own 3 apartment complexes now. Oak Ridge is my newest property, but I also have Riverside Gardens and Pine Hill Apartments." "I know," Patricia said. "You mentioned that before." "What I didn't mention is that I'm looking to expand again," Marcus continued. "I'm buying another property next month, Meadow Creek Apartments. It's about twice the size of Oak Ridge." Patricia wasn't sure where this was going. "That sounds like a great opportunity." "It is," Marcus agreed, "but it also means I need help. More specifically, I need someone to take over as community manager here at Oak Ridge." Patricia's eyes widened. "A community manager? What would that involve?" "You'd work with Lisa to handle resident concerns, plan events, and help create the kind of community we all want to live in," Marcus explained. "Lisa handles the business side, rent, maintenance requests, that sort of thing. The community manager focuses on the people. And you're offering this job to me." Patricia could hardly believe it. "I am," Marcus confirmed. "It's a paid position, part-time to start, 20 hours a week." Patricia sat back in her chair, stunned. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to answer right away," Marcus said. "Think about it. Talk to your family." That evening, Patricia called her sister Kate to tell her about the job offer. "That's amazing," Kate exclaimed. Are you going to take it? I'm not sure, Patricia admitted. I've never had a real job before. I've just worked at Dad's company where everyone had to be nice to me. Maybe that's exactly why you should take it, Kate suggested. This would be something you earned yourself. Patricia thought about that. You're right. But what if I mess up again? Then you'll learn and do better next time, Kate said. That's what you've been doing already, right? After they hung up, Patricia walked to her window and looked out at Oak Ridge. The property looked different to her now. Each window represented a person or family she had met. There was Eleanor's apartment, where the elderly woman grew beautiful plants on her balcony. There was the Lopez family's unit, where young Maya practiced her violin. There was Mr. Lee's place, where amazing cooking smells often drifted into the hallway. For the first time, Patricia saw Oak Ridge not just as a place to live, but as a community she cared about deeply. The next morning, she walked back to Marcus's office. He looked up from his desk when she entered. "I've thought about your offer," Patricia said confidently, "and I'd like to accept." Marcus smiled and stood up to shake her hand. "Welcome to the team." "Thank you for giving me this chance," Patricia said, "especially after how we first met." "Sometimes the worst beginnings lead to the best outcomes," Marcus replied. "Now let's talk about your first project." He pulled out a large folder and opened it on his desk. Inside were plans for a new garden area and playground. "These are the plans for the empty lot behind Building C," Marcus explained. "I've been wanting to turn it into something special for the residents." Patricia looked at the drawings with growing excitement. This was her chance to make a real difference at Oak Ridge. "When can we start?" she asked eagerly. Marcus smiled at her enthusiasm. "How about today?" 6 months passed quickly. Patricia threw herself into her new job with energy and passion. The empty lot behind Building C was now a beautiful garden with a playground. Children played there every afternoon while their parents chatted on nearby benches. Patricia's days were busy and full. She started a monthly newsletter for residents. She organized a homework club for the children. She even began a program to help elderly residents with grocery shopping and doctor visits. One morning, Patricia was in her small office next to Lisa's when Marcus came in. He looked excited. "Good news," he said. "The renovation at Meadow Creek is almost finished. I'd like you both to come see it tomorrow." Lisa clapped her hands. "Finally. I've been waiting to see how it turned out." Patricia nodded in agreement. She had heard a lot about Meadow Creek over the past months. It was Marcus's biggest project yet, a rundown apartment complex that he was completely rebuilding. The next day, Marcus drove them to Meadow Creek. As they pulled into the property, Patricia gasped. The buildings were beautiful, with fresh paint and new windows. The grounds were green and well-kept, with flowers everywhere. "Marcus, it's amazing," she said as they walked around. "How did you do all this in just 6 months?" "A lot of hard work and good people," Marcus replied, "just like at Oak Ridge." He showed them the pool area, the community center, and the new playground. Everything was modern and welcoming. "The first residents move in next week," Marcus explained. "I want everything to be perfect for them." As they walked back to the car, Marcus turned to Patricia. "What do you think of Meadow Creek?" "It's wonderful," she answered honestly. "Whoever manages this place is very lucky." Marcus and Lisa exchanged a look. "Actually," Marcus said, "that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Lisa will be moving here to manage Meadow Creek. It's a bigger property and needs her experience." Patricia felt a moment of panic. "What about Oak Ridge? Who will manage it?" "Well," Marcus said slowly, "I was hoping you would." Patricia stopped walking. "Me? But I've only been community manager for 6 months. And you've done an outstanding job," Marcus said. "The residents trust you. They respect you. Lisa has been training you on the business side, and she says you are a quick learner." Lisa nodded in agreement. "You're ready for this, Patricia. I wouldn't say so if I didn't believe it." Patricia took a deep breath. "This is a big responsibility." "It is," Marcus agreed. "But I believe in you." Think about how far you've come in just 6 months. That evening, Patricia sat on her balcony thinking about Marcus's offer. She remembered the day at the pool when she had confronted him, never imagining he owned the whole complex. She had been so different then. Selfish, judgmental, isolated. Her phone rang. It was Eleanor Washington. "Hello, dear," the elderly woman said. "I heard the news about you becoming manager. The whole complex is talking about it." "News travels fast," Patricia said with a laugh. "I haven't even decided yet." "What's there to decide?" Eleanor asked. "You were born for this job. But what if I'm not ready?" Patricia admitted her fear. "What if I let everyone down?" "Child," Eleanor said gently, "6 months ago you thought you knew everything. Now you know you don't. That's called wisdom, and it's what makes a good leader." After they hung up, Patricia called Marcus. "I'll take the job," she told him. "But I have one condition." "What's that?" Marcus asked. "I want to start a program to help other property managers learn about building community," Patricia explained. "I want to share what I've learned." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That's a fantastic idea. We could create workshops, maybe even write a guide for other apartment complexes." "Exactly," Patricia said, her voice growing excited. "What happened to me, the way I change, it could happen for others too." "You're going to be an amazing manager," Marcus said warmly. As Patricia hung up the phone, she looked around her apartment. She had lived here for over a year now, but it felt like she was seeing everything with new eyes. Tomorrow, she would begin her new role as property manager. She had so many ideas, so many plans. But most importantly, she had learned the true meaning of community. And that was the greatest lesson of all. 1 year later, Patricia stood at the entrance of Oak Ridge Apartments, greeting people as they arrived for a special event. Today was the first Building Better Communities workshop, and property managers from all over the city had come to learn. The past year had been amazing for Patricia. As property manager, she had made Oak Ridge into a model community. The apartment complex had a waiting list now because so many people wanted to live there. "Patricia, everything looks wonderful," Marcus called as he walked up with a group of visitors. "Let me introduce you to the property managers from Hillside Apartments and Lakeview Terrace." Patricia shook hands with everyone, feeling proud and confident. This workshop had been her idea, and now it was happening. "Welcome to Oak Ridge," she said warmly. "We're so happy to share what we've learned about building community." Inside the newly expanded community room, rows of chairs were set up facing a small stage. On the walls were before and after pictures of Oak Ridge, along with photos from various community events. As people took their seats, Patricia saw a familiar face slip in at the back. Her sister Kate had come to support her. Next to Kate sat their father, who had never visited Oak Ridge before. Patricia felt a lump in her throat. Her father had been skeptical when she left his company to become a full-time property manager. Seeing him here meant a lot. At exactly 10:00 a.m., Marcus stepped onto the stage. "Good morning, everyone," he began. "Thank you for coming to our first Building Better Communities workshop. Today, you'll learn practical ways to transform apartment complexes from just buildings into true communities where people care about each other." He gestured toward Patricia. "And there's no one better to teach you than our own Patricia Baker, who has an incredible story to share." As Patricia walked to the stage, she felt nervous but ready. She had practiced her speech many times. "Good morning," she began. "My journey started right here at Oak Ridge, but not as a property manager. I was just a resident, and not a very good one." The audience laughed. "In fact," Patricia continued, "my first meaningful interaction with Marcus Johnson, the owner of this property, was when I confronted him at the pool and accused him of trespassing." She paused as people gasped and murmured. "Yes, I was that person, the one who makes assumptions based on appearance, the one who thinks she knows who belongs and who doesn't." Patricia looked out at the audience and saw Eleanor Washington nodding encouragingly from the front row. "But instead of getting angry, Marcus showed me kindness. He gave me a chance to learn and grow, and that changed everything. For the next 30 minutes, Patricia shared her story and the lessons she had learned. She talked about the community day in the rain, the garden project, and all the ways Oak Ridge had become a true home for its residents. When she finished speaking, the room erupted in applause. Marcus returned to the stage and hugged her. "And now," he announced, "I'd like to share some exciting news. Patterson Group, the largest property management company in the state, has asked us to create a community building program for all their properties. Patricia will be leading this initiative, which means her methods will help thousands of residents across 20 different apartment complexes." Patricia's mouth fell open in surprise. This was the first she had heard of this opportunity. After the workshop, as people mingled and enjoyed refreshments, Patricia's father approached her. "I've never been more proud," he said, hugging her tightly. "You've built something meaningful here." Later, Patricia and Marcus stood by the pool, the very place where their story had begun. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Patricia asked, looking around at the beautiful property and the happy people. "Not exactly like this," Marcus admitted, "but I always believed people could change if given the chance." Patricia nodded. "That day at the pool seems like a lifetime ago." "It was a different lifetime," Marcus said, "for both of us." As the sun began to set, residents gathered around the pool for a community dinner. Children played, adults talked, and elderly residents watched it all with smiling faces. Patricia looked at the scene with a full heart. The journey from Karen at the pool to respected community leader had not been easy. There had been hard lessons and difficult conversations. But looking at the thriving community around her, Patricia knew that sometimes the worst moments in life could lead to the best transformations. And that was a story worth sharing.